Good day everyone. Today we will be presenting about Sustainable Development Goal 2 or Zero Hunger. This goal is part of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals launched by the United Nations in 2015, which aim to improve lives and protect the planet by the year 2030. SDG 2 is one of the most important goals because hunger is a problem that affects every other aspect of life. Without food, people cannot study, cannot work, and cannot live healthy lives. Hunger leads to poverty, sickness, and even conflict. On the other hand, if hunger is solved, many other problems also become easier to solve. So, in this report, we will discuss the causes of hunger, its effects, the challenges in achieving zero hunger, and how we can help. Zero hunger has four main targets. First, it aims to end hunger worldwide, making sure that no person, young or old, goes to bed on an empty stomach. Second, it promotes food security, which means food should always be available, affordable, and safe. Third, it focuses on nutrition because eating is not just about having enough food, it's also about eating the right kinds of food that makes us healthy. And finally, it pushes for sustainable agriculture or farming methods that protect the environment and use resources wisely so that our future generations can continue to enjoy food security. This goal is deeply connected to other SDGs. For example, it links to health and well-being, to poverty reduction, and even to climate action. Simply put, achieving zero hunger will move the world closer to peace and development. Now let us discuss the causes of hunger. The biggest cause is poverty. Millions of families around the world live on a very low income and cannot afford regular meals. Poverty creates a cycle. So when you are poor, you can't afford food. And when you're hungry, it's harder to study or work, which keeps you poor. Another cause is conflict and war. In countries where there is violence, people are often forced to leave their homes and farms. Food supply chains are disrupted, markets close, and families lose both income and access to food. Third is climate change. Rising temperatures, droughts, floods, and storms make farming unpredictable. For instance, farmers who depend on rain may lose all their crops if the weather is too dry, or their fields may be destroyed by floods. Finally, food waste and inequality. Around one-third of the food produced in the world is wasted, while millions go hungry. This shows that hunger is not only about producing enough food, but also about sharing it fairly and reducing waste. These causes show us that hunger is not just about a lack of food. It is connected to poverty, environment, and even politics.
The effects of hunger are very serious, especially for children. First, hunger leads to poor health. People who don't eat enough nutritious food have weak immune systems, which makes them more vulnerable to diseases like tuberculosis or even simple infections. Second, hunger causes malnutrition in children. Malnourished children are shorter than average, weaker, and often cannot concentrate in school. Their learning ability is affected and their future opportunities are limited. Third, hunger reduces productivity. A person who is hungry cannot focus on their job or studies. For example, a construction worker who hasn't eaten well will not have the strength to finish tasks, and a student who hasn't had a breakfast will find it hard to pay attention during class. Finally, hunger affects entire communities and economies. If large parts of a population are malnourished, the country's development slows down. Hunger creates a chain reaction. It reduces education, weakens health, lowers income, and keeps poverty alive. In short, hunger is not just a personal problem, it's a barrier to progress for the whole society. Challenges in achieving SDG 2. Even though the world is working to end hunger, there are many challenges that makes SDG 2 difficult to achieve. The first challenge is climate change. Farmers cannot predict the weather as before, and extreme conditions destroy crops and reduce harvest. This makes food less available and expensive. The second challenge is the poverty cycle. Even when food is available in markets, poor families cannot afford it. This cycle of poverty and hunger is hard to break without strong support systems. The third challenge is conflict zones. In war-torn countries like Yemen or Sudan, hunger is extremely high because families are displaced, food supply lines are blocked, and humanitarian aid cannot always reach them. The fourth challenge is population growth. The world's population is increasing, and by 2050, we will need to produce much more food to feed everyone. Meeting this demand without farming the environment is a big challenge. All these challenges show us that ending hunger requires global cooperation, technology, peace, and long-time commitment.
Now, how can we, as ordinary people or students, help in the fight against hunger? First, by avoiding food waste. Many people throw away food because they take more than they can finish. If we learn to value food and consume responsibly, we can reduce waste and respect the effort that goes into food production. Second, we can support local farmers. Buying local products, even in small amounts, helps strengthen local economies and gives farmers the income they deserve. Farmers are the backbone of food supply, and they need our support. Third, we can donate or volunteer in feeding programs, food banks, or nutrition projects. Even small contributions, like giving canned goods to donation drives, make a difference to hungry families. Fourth, we can promote healthy diets by encouraging our friends and families to eat balanced meals instead of processed junk food. This raises awareness that good nutrition is part of the fight against hunger. Finally, we can support policies and programs that aim to reduce hunger. As students, we can spread awareness, participate in school projects, and use social media responsibly to educate others. Our actions may seem small, but when added together, they create a big impact. Lastly, let us imagine a world where hunger no longer exists. In this world, people are healthier and stronger, living longer lives free from the suffering of malnutrition. Children go to school every day with full stomachs, ready to learn and achieve their dreams. Families sit at the table with enough food for everyone, without worrying about where the next meal will come from. Communities become peaceful and fair, because hunger often causes desperation, crime, and even conflict. With enough food, people live with dignity and hope. Economies thrive, because healthy workers and educated children become the foundation of innovation and progress. A world without hunger is not only about food, it is about justice, equality, and shared progress. It is about creating a future where no one is left behind, and every person, regardless of background, has the opportunity to live fully. This is a vision of SDG 2, Zero Hunger, and it is a future that we should all work together to achieve.